Sprint 8. How to create and build powerful relationships. We want to help you understand how to work effectively with almost anyone. You will need to work with many types of individuals to make your enterprise a success, including strangers. You will also need the people you work with to work productively together. This sprint coaches you on how to master skills required to build strong relationships with almost anyone and help others make their relationships more productive. These are broadly useful and powerful skills that revolve around understanding the role of shared objectives in forming relationships, and the 3 types of shared objectives: cooperating, competing, and retreating, that you can use to mold together and create more powerful relationships with almost anyone. This sprint is designed to help you understand relationship building skills, assess your skills, and then prescribe productive steps to practice and improve your skills. It starts with the following article. What is relationship building? Written and read by Derek Liedau.
What is a relationship? A relationship is a connection between 2 people. The thing connecting people in a relationship is called a shared objective. A shared objective is anything that 2 different people aspire to have happen. Examples of shared objectives are sharing an asset that 2 people own or care for, like maintaining a house owned by 2 people. Having a conversation, like understanding what the weather might be like tomorrow. Promoting an idea both care about, like commenting on a celebrity's provocative Instagram post. Sharing a feeling, like 2 people hoping to have fun on a date. Provoking an action, like a child wanting a parent to hug them. Prospering at a position, like 2 people working for the same company. Prospering at a place, like 2 people sitting next to one another at a concert. Relationships are at the core of everyone's life and are essential to making any change. You can have many relationships with the same person. The more important a person is to you, the more different objectives you share. It is a major effort to list all the relationships you might have going on at any one time. And many relationships are fleeting, as they only last for the length of a short conversation or the time it takes to comment on an Instagram post. Fortunately, you only need to pay attention to the relationships that have payoffs you care about or have payoffs that people you care about care about. People do not often think of what they do as building and maintaining relationships. When you ask someone, what relationships do you have? They usually think only of long-duration relationships, such as with a parent or a child, or between coworkers, or with close friends. People naively think of their relationship with their best friend as a single, mostly static relationship, and not actually as many different dynamic ones. We will soon understand why that is limited. Relationship building skills enable you to make all the important relationships in your life more powerful and rewarding, and prevent you from naively wrecking relationships that could be mutually beneficial. Clearly, relationships formed for the purpose of starting a company are important and high priority, so this is a critical skill for founders. As we discuss in detail, 2 people do not always agree on what the results of a shared objective should be. No agreement is necessary for a relationship to form. They form because there is a shared objective, whether anyone likes it or not. The shared objectives and the relationships they define can be cursory and transitory, but they may still be something you care about improving. You may never talk to the person sitting next to you at a concert, but you share a space with them, and you do care if they just drank a quart of vodka. You also have impactful relationships with a person you only know by their screen name and who live far away. And when they leave inflammatory comments on your Instagram because they don't like your ideas, you definitely are in a relationship. You ultimately care about many of your relationships, The question is how much attention and energy to give towards making each one more productive. That's part of this skill. Payoffs for achieving a shared objective. Whenever a shared objective is achieved, there is some benefit that can be split between the people in the relationship. Each member of the relationship may want or expect to share the benefits differently, such as the financial benefits, or the improvement in social status, or being acknowledged as the person who thinks up the most creative ideas. There are usually costs that the people in the relationship must invest to potentially achieve the shared objective. The investments in money and time associated with successfully achieving a shared objective also may or may not be equally shared. Ultimately, there is great insight to be gained from realizing that there are three, and only three, types of relationships: cooperative, competing, and retreating. It is critical for you to be able to tell them apart. A cooperative shared objective is one where all parties agree how the benefits and costs associated with achieving the objective will be shared. Cooperative relationships are the most efficient at creating new value or capability. They're also the lowest risk path to making a change. But they require the largest investment in time and resources. Cooperation requires continuous investment in time and attention to satisfy everyone that they may achieve their agreed upon payoff. These types of relationships have another downside because they often produce mediocre results when shared objectives are agreed upon through consensus or democratic decision-making. A competitive shared objective is when one or both parties do not agree how they will share the costs and benefits. Competitive relationships are the most effective at testing which solutions produce the best results. Knowing who runs the fastest or who can create code that uses the least memory requires a competition to determine and validate. However, competitions always destroy value in seeking the shared objective and add considerable risk to both parties achieving their desired payoffs. Competitions are stressful and often unleash uncontrolled emotions. Disagreements in how shared objective payoffs will be split are often covert. You may not realize that you're competing. Manipulations are covert competitions when someone uses emotions to get you to do something disadvantageous. You can imagine the problems covert competitions can cause within a team. A retreating relationship is formed when either or both parties do not care how the costs or benefits of achieving the objective will be shared. Retreats enable independence and the refreshing of resources. They can also enable creativity and innovative thinking through the elimination of constraints of having to worry about the expectations of others. Retreating trades the benefit from potentially achieving a payoff of an existing relationship for potential benefits of future individual actions, which may result in forming other relationships. We all retreat much of the time. Daydreaming is a retreat from listening to someone. You will often retreat when sitting next to that stranger at a concert. You cannot always choose the type of relationship. Competition always supersedes both cooperation and retreat. If someone wants to compete with you and won't let you retreat, then you have no choice but to compete. Retreat supersedes cooperation. If you want to cooperate, but the other person wants to retreat, there's no cooperation. And forcing someone to cooperate doesn't work. Cooperation only can work when both parties want to cooperate. Becoming skilled in relationship building. Relationship building skills result in the ability to improve desired outcomes created by people working together. The key is to appropriately formulate combinations of cooperating, competing, and retreating shared objectives and payoffs. At its most basic, skilled relationship builders can identify all their shared objectives of all their important relationships. They can also formulate new relationships with others, even strangers, that cooperatively create value, competitively test potential improvements, and enable parties to retreat when they need to re-energize. The fundamental strategies for improving existing relationships are: ensure that all competitive shared objectives create valid performance tests. Every competition should yield a valuable new insight into how to improve the performance of the enterprise without generating uncontrolled emotions. Shift other competitions into retreat or cooperation by offering to modify the shared objectives and expected payoffs. Shift some acts of retreat when the potential benefits are high enough to cooperation by offering to modify the shared objectives, often by making payoffs more immediate. Relationship building is a powerful skill to master, and the next 2 sprints dig deeper into understanding and practicing relationship building skills. The next sprint focuses on communication as the most basic relationship and the one that is most critical to get right.
Sprint exercise. Now that you've read or listened to our article, What is Relationship Building?, we ask you to think of your answers to these 3 questions. How masterful do you aspire for your relationship building skills to get? Do you favor one type of relationship, cooperating, competing, retreating, over others? And why is that? What scares you about becoming masterful at relationship building?